Hey everybody, thank you for joining today. My name is Eric Speck. I am the Peer Support Director at RPH Ally. Today I'm coming at you solo to talk about the importance of having people who support you. And I'm going to share a recent example of how a couple people supported me, what I learned, and I'm going to tell you about that. So hopefully it can help you as well right after this. All right, excellent. I kind of hit the button twice there, so you got a little preview, then you got the full reel. So, anyways, um, a long time ago, I didn't really have a support network, and when I say support network, like, what does that mean? Basically, today that just means friends, but it's not just friends that you go have a beer with, that you play sports with. It's like friends who are actually there for you and who want to support you and do support you. So it's like, yes, they can be friends, but they're more than friends. And I've surrounded myself with a bunch of these people now, regularly in conversations with them, and it's just kind of normal. It's kind of a way of life. And I had a friend reach out to me. This was 2 weeks ago, and he just checked in. He's like, "Hey man, how you doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm doing good. Things are going great. Family's doing good, staying busy, but a lot of really good stuff going on." He's like, "Hey, that's fantastic." And I'm like, "Yeah, it is." Then I got back to him, and I'm like, but I always have this problem, like where things are good, but they're not where I want them to be. And we talked a little bit further, and he goes, "You know what you need?" He goes, "Have you ever heard of this book?" And I'm like, "Never heard of it." And he goes, "I'm going to send it to you, and I'll tell you what the book is a little bit later. So hang tight." And he asked for my address, and literally the next day, it's on my front doorstep, delivered by Amazon. And I hadn't opened it yet. And a week later, I'm actually on a coaching group call with one of the coaches I work with, and kind of talking about the same thing. I didn't realize I was talking about the same thing. And he said the same thing. He goes, "Have you heard of this book?" And I'm like, "Dude, like I just heard of the book last week, and it's actually sitting right here on my desk." I popped it up, and it's amazing that you guys both told me about this book the first time I ever heard of it, a week apart from two different people. And it's just like, well, that's a sign that maybe really that book is for me. So before I tell you about the book and like why I like the book so much, and I'm so glad they recommended it to me, let's just stop and take a look at those two interactions that I had and how much they helped me. If I hadn't surrounded myself with these people, created this support network, I would not have gained something that has really, really helped me since I learned what they taught me, what I read in the book. And actually, don't tell them this. They bought me the book, but I went on Audible because I listen to my books at the gym. I don't have time to read, so I listen to the book. But so what's that book? And actually, let me back up. So please, if you're thinking right now, like, I wish I had people like that in my life, um, it's not that difficult to do. It just takes effort. And a lot of times there are these people in your life, maybe you don't have that kind of relationship with them. Well, I encourage you to create that kind of relationship, right? And so it's two-sided. You're there for them, they're there for you, and that's better for both sides. And I've never met anybody who doesn't want to receive that and doesn't want to give that. If it's just not how you are with your current friends in the relationship, it's not comfortable or something, well, get out of that comfort zone and step that relationship up a notch. And so you can actually benefit them better and they could benefit you better. And yeah, I guess that's about it. And if you don't know where to start with that, reach out, make new connections, find friends on social media, on LinkedIn, RPH Ally, peer support channel, great place to meet people to help and who want to help you as well. There's a lot of ways to do it. If you're still struggling, there's any barrier there, you're too shy, don't know how to go about it, please reach out to me. I'll be that person for you, and I'll help you how to, make those connections and develop your own support group. All right. So a lot of you probably heard of this book. It's pretty popular. It's relatively new. It's called The Gap and the Gain. All right. So if you've recognized this cover, you're probably going, "Oh yeah, that's a really good book." If you don't recognize it, you say, "The Gap and the Gain, that's a really weird name for a book. I have no idea what that means. Please explain it to me." So I'm going to explain it to you. So when I was having these conversations, when they recommended the book to me, I basically said like, heck, I'm good, I'm happy, things are going great, but I'm not where I want to be. Basically, the way that I measure myself, my success, my happiness, and a lot of people do. That's why they created a whole book on it and have coaching programs surrounding this. Is a lot of people measure how they're doing by the gap from where they're at and where they want to be. So, for example, like let's say I want $1 million in my bank account and you don't have $1 million in your bank account, you are going to be judging yourself by saying, I'm not there. I want all this money. I want to achieve this, but I'm not there yet. So I feel less than. I'm not happy. I'm not content with my life because I want these things and I don't have them. So I'm feeling really small and not happy. I'm over here. And that's kind of the default mindset. And they talk about this in the book too. That's a default mindset that we go into. Everybody does just kind of naturally. But what that does, it leaves everybody feeling not happy like day in and day out because they're always trying to strive to be that, have that ideal life, that ideal outcome. And if you think about it, we'll never reach it. And you hear about these stories all the time. So going back to the $1 million in the bank account example, if I continue to have this gap mindset, what do you think is going to happen when I get that $1 million in my bank account? Then I'm going to want $2 million. Well, guess what? I'm still looking at that gap, and then I'm still not as happy because I'm still $1 million away from my goal. All right, and this is not a finance show or anything like that. I just chose the $1 million as an example. So if you're just tuning in, this is not about money at all. But you see what I'm saying, right? If you get to your goal, you're going to want a new goal, a bigger goal that's just as far. Well, now you said you're going to be happy when you get the $1 million, but you're not happy because you still got now you got another $1 million to go, right? And that's the gap. So hopefully that's making sense. So now let's talk about the gain. What is the gain part of it? If you measure yourself by the gain, then you don't measure your happiness and your self-worth by how far you need to go. You measure yourself by everything you've gained, how far you've come. So in that case, going back to the $1 million example, if you get that $1 million and you have a gain mindset, you're going to be happy. You're going to be excited. You're like, oh my gosh, 5 years ago, or however long ago it was, only had $1,000 in my bank account. Now I got $1 million. That's huge. You're going to be happy. You're going to be on top of the world. There are a lot of examples like that. So if you're watching this, I'm sure you've gained a lot. I'm sure you've come really, really far in your life and you've achieved a lot. And they say that this gap mindset happens most with high achievers because that's one reason we achieve so much, because we're not happy, we're slightly depressed, so we want to work harder, gain more, and try to achieve that happiness. So if you can relate to this, try practicing that gain mindset. Instead of measuring yourself on how far you haven't come, measure yourself on how far you have come. Take a look at all your wins. In the book, they talk about, going back 3 days, going back 30 days, going back 90 days, and even years, and writing down all of your wins. And then another strategy they say to keep this on a, updated daily basis, so you're constantly living in the gain, is at the end of your day, write down 3 gains, or 3 wins. What were 3 wins I had today? Right? And so that's going to keep you in the gain mindset. It's going to keep you feeling good about yourself. It's going to keep you positive. It's going to keep you optimistic. And then in addition to writing down the 3 wins for that day, you write down, what are 3 wins that I want to have tomorrow? And if you think about how important this is, when you go to sleep at night, with that being the last things that's on your mind, you're thinking about how much you've accomplished and how much you've achieved. That's got you feeling really good. And then at the same time, you're thinking about the 3 wins you're going to have tomorrow. So you wake up with direction, you wake up with focus, you wake up with a positive attitude, and you're going to have such a better day the next day. And imagine just the compounding effect that this is going to have once you practice it on a daily basis. So one thing I do that's kind of similar, it's not really writing down specific wins, but I keep a gratitude list. I do it in the morning. You can do it at night. I'm thinking about doing it in the morning and at night now, but also doing this wins, writing down 3 wins for the day and then 3 wins I want to achieve the next day. Really just to step it up a notch, because like I said, the only reason I learned this is because I was having conversations with some friends of mine, some really good friends, and they said, hey, I identified this as the issue going on. this can help you solve that issue. And I couldn't agree more. So if you can relate to any of that, pick up this book. I think it's like less than $20 on Amazon. They do have it on Audible. It's not really long. It's a pretty quick read. I think it's only 6 chapters. Lots of really good stuff in there. So, I'll end on this. I'm so grateful for the friends that I made, from the support network that I've created. Everybody at RPH Ally who supports me and allows me to be of service by having this channel and helping everybody else who's watching. Very grateful for a lot of things that have in my life today. Very grateful for a lot of you. If there's anything I can do for you, please let me know. You can find me on RPH Ally, Peer Support Channel. You can message me there, and I'll talk to you guys soon.